Most of us move through life doing what seems responsible, what keeps things running smoothly, or what makes others comfortable. It feels normal because everyone around us is doing the same. But beneath that normal routine, there's a quieter story unfolding. One where each time we don't choose ourselves, we're shaping a life that might not really feel like our own. In this video, we're going to break down how the small act of not choosing yourself isn't just a minor habit. It's something that can redefine who you become, how you feel about your own life, and how you relate to the people around you. We'll explore why prioritizing yourself isn't selfish. It's the key to living a life that actually feels like it belongs to you. Welcome to the Glitch Cult, where we uncover the hidden costs of everyday choices and help you see the truths that shape your life. Most people think time is something they're simply using up as life happens. They don't think of time as something that is shaping who they become. But that is what time actually does. Whatever you do with your days is what your mind and your life slowly adapt to. This matters because choosing yourself is not just about making better plans. It is about deciding what kind of person your repeated days are turning you into. When you keep saying yes to things you do not care about, you're not only giving away hours, you're training your nervous system to treat your own preferences as unimportant. When you keep postponing what matters to you, you're not just delaying action, you're practicing avoidance. And practice is what the brain learns from. This is how a smaller life forms, not through one big mistake, but through repetition. If most of your days are built around obligations you did not choose, routines you do not enjoy, and habits that drain you, your brain starts to treat that version of life as normal. Over time, it also starts to treat anything different as dangerous or unrealistic. This is why people say things like, "I could never do that," about lives that actually fit them better. Their mind has adapted to a narrow range of what feels safe. It is not because those other lives are impossible. It is because their nervous system has been trained to stay inside a smaller box. Not choosing yourself repeatedly does something very specific. It conditions your sense of what is possible. At first, the choices you avoid are small. You do not speak up in a meeting. You do not leave a job you dislike. You do not start the thing you keep thinking about. Each time you tell yourself a reasonable story. Now is not the right time. It is not practical. Other people need you. You are being responsible. None of those explanations are completely wrong. But what matters is what they slowly turn your life into. They add up to a life where your own direction keeps getting postponed. And when something is postponed long enough, it stops feeling like a real option. This is why people wake up one day and feel like it is too late to change their life, even when it is not. Their mind has simply adapted to the current shape of their life. Any large deviation now feels threatening instead of hopeful. That feeling of "it's too late" is not a fact. It is a trained emotional response. This is the real-time cost of not choosing yourself. It is not just that years pass. It is that your identity hardens around a life you never actively chose. You become someone who does not expect much from life. Someone who does not take risks. Someone who avoids discomfort, even when discomfort is necessary for growth. Not because that is who you are, but because that is who your repeated choices trained you to be. Choosing yourself interrupts this training. Not all at once, but gradually. It means using your time in ways that slowly teach your brain a different story about who you are and what your life is allowed to look like. That is why time is not just a resource. It is a conditioning environment, and not choosing yourself is how people quietly condition themselves into a life that feels smaller than it needs to be. When people don't choose themselves for long enough, something subtle happens inside them. They do not just become tired or unfulfilled. They start living from a version of themselves that is not fully real. This happens because the human mind learns what to express based on what gets accepted. If every time you notice a preference, a desire, or a discomfort and you ignore it, your mind eventually stops bringing those signals forward as strongly. It learns that those signals are not useful. So you don't lose your wants. You lose access to them. This is why people often say they don't know what they want in life. It is not because nothing matters to them. It is because their mind learned that wanting things leads to disappointment, conflict, or rejection. So it stops surfacing those wants clearly. This creates a false calm. On the surface, everything looks stable. You're not constantly fighting with people. You are not making dramatic changes. You're not taking big risks. But inside, something is wrong. You feel disconnected from your own life. You feel flat. You feel like you're performing your days instead of living them. This is not depression in the clinical sense. It is misalignment. Your actions are not matching your internal signals. And when that mismatch goes on for years, your mind starts to protect you by numbing those signals. That numbness feels like maturity to a lot of people. They say things like, "This is just how life is," or "You can't expect to be happy all the time." But what they are actually doing is lowering their expectations to match a life that does not fit them. This is one of the deepest costs of not choosing yourself. You adapt to a life that is wrong for you instead of changing a life. And then you forget that another way of living was ever possible. Another thing that happens is loss of self-trust. Every time you feel a boundary and override it, your mind registers that. Even if you don't consciously notice it, the message being sent is, "My needs do not matter." Over time, this erodes your confidence in your own perceptions. You start doubting whether your feelings are valid. You second-guess your reactions. You look outside yourself for permission to make basic life decisions. This is not because you're weak. It is because you trained yourself not to listen to yourself. So later, when you want to make a change, you feel paralyzed. You don't know if you're being reasonable or selfish. You don't know if your dissatisfaction is real or just in your head. That confusion is not random. It is the result of long-term self-betrayal. Choosing yourself begins to undo this, not by making you confident overnight, but by slowly rebuilding a basic sense of inner honesty. You start doing fewer things you secretly resent. You start taking your own discomfort seriously. You start acting in ways that match your internal signals more often. And slowly, your mind relearns that your inner life is allowed to guide your outer life. That is not self-indulgence. That is psychological alignment. And without it, no amount of external success actually feels like your own life. When you do not choose yourself in relationships, something very specific happens. You teach people who you are allowed to be, not intentionally, structurally. If you always say yes, people learn that you are someone who is always available. If you never express limits, people learn that your limits do not exist. If you always adjust, people learn that you are the adjustable one. Over time, this becomes your role. You become the reliable one, the easy one, the supportive one. Those roles sound positive, but they are built on self-erasure. And once a relationship stabilizes around a version of you that overgives, changing becomes hard. Not because people are evil, but because your growth threatens the structure of the relationship. When you finally start choosing yourself, people feel confused, hurt, or angry. They say things like, "You've changed," and they are right. But what they usually mean is, "You're no longer playing the role I built my expectations around." This is why choosing yourself later feels like betrayal. Not because it is morally wrong, but because the relationship was built on your self-neglect. Another hidden cost is guilt conditioning. When you always prioritize others, your nervous system learns that your value comes from being useful and agreeable. So when you say no, your body reacts as if you're doing something dangerous. Your mind starts producing guilt-based thoughts. That reaction is not intuition. It is conditioning. It is your nervous system trying to keep old relationship dynamics intact. So you go back to overgiving, and the cycle continues. This is how people build lives that resist their growth. Not because they want to stay small, but because every attempt to grow triggers guilt, fear, and relational conflict. Choosing yourself breaks this cycle. It means allowing some people to be disappointed, allowing some relationships to change, allowing some connections to end, not out of cruelty, but out of honesty. Relationships that only work when you abandon yourself are not healthy relationships. They are emotional arrangements that require your silence to survive. Choosing yourself does not make you selfish. It makes your relationships real, because people are finally relating to who you actually are, not to the version of you that erased itself to keep things smooth. And that honesty, even when it costs you some comfort, is what makes a life feel like it actually belongs to you. So this is why choosing yourself matters, especially in a world where your attention can be scattered in 100 different directions. If you don't choose yourself, you slowly let your identity be shaped by everything except what actually matters to you. And by the time you realize that some parts of your life were never truly in your control, you might look back and feel like you've been living someone else's story. In that moment, it can feel like parts of your own existence were erased in front of your own eyes. And that's why it's crucial to see the unseen, to understand how the choices we overlook shape the lives we live. Thanks for joining us here at the Glitch Cult, where we pull back the curtain on the realities most people never question.